Yo, hey, what's going on, guys? Here to break down the 9-game NBA slate on Thursday. I do apologize for not being able to upload a video for this, but I'll try to go over everything here in the live stream. Again, same schedule. We'll go over what we know so far. We can look at some numbers. We can look at players and their prices, and then we can get to questions at the end. What's up, guys? But yeah, let's jump into it. So early on, we had Malcolm Brogdon rolled out. So, Aaron Holiday is in play, but he's not really, the value play he was a few weeks ago when Brogdon was out. And we also can consider a guy like T.J. McConnell, I think, makes for an intriguing value play. This is pretty big news. So, Kristaps is ruled out for Dallas. So, that's obviously a huge boost to Luka. The bad thing is, I guess, is they price up both Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber. So, don't think we can go with either of those guys, but I'll talk about some value guys. Brunson's going to be somewhat popular. I'll talk about him, kind of give my thoughts there. Luka, as a spend up right now, I'm still undecided on what I want to do with Luka. I have a good lineup with my mid-tier approach, and I have a good lineup with fitting in Luka and then taking some shots in some of those cheaper guys. But yeah, I'll get into more of that in a bit. Bruce Brown is questionable. This is actually pretty significant news because Pistons are really short-handed. Blake Griffin doubtful. Don't expect him to play. No Luke Kennard. If Bruce Brown gets ruled out, I think a couple of value guys would be pretty interesting. Mostly Tim Frazier. So I'll talk about that here in a bit. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, we have everyone questionable once again. That's hopefully we get news on that somewhat soon. Let's see. Nuggets starting there. Same starting lineup. Gary Harris will play. Okay, nothing huge there. But let's take a look at some numbers here before we get into the prices. So we got Hornets, Cavs sitting at 212 with Cleveland favored by 2. We got Nuggets and the Pacers right now sitting at 209 with Denver favored by 1.5. We have the Raptors, Heat sitting at 214.5 with the Heat favored by 6. Golden State, Minnesota sitting at 213 with Minnesota favored by 4. I talked about the Golden State stack in, New Year's Eve. That was a huge success. Some of their players, the prices went up a bit, but I still like a lot of the Golden State guys, and I like some of the Minnesota guys too, especially if all those guys are out. So this is, as of right now, my favorite game-to-game stack by far. I know it's going to be the most popular, but that's kind of where I'm starting my build is with a lot of players in that game. We got Jazz Bulls sitting at 208.5 for the Jazz favored by 4. Nets Mavs sitting at 223. The Mavs favored by 7.5, even with no Kristaps. Thunder Spurs sitting at 217 with the Spurs favored by 2.5 points. I think this game is definitely the most sneaky game on the slate. I think it does have a shot to have some guys have pretty good DFS games, but I think everyone's going to go super low. I'll talk about that here a little bit later. Grizzlies Kings sitting at 224.5. Sacramento favored by 4.5. De'Aaron Fox, probably my favorite play of the day. I know he's going to be popular, but I'll be eating the chalk there. And then Pistons Clippers, late night hammer, 224.5. Clippers favored by 13. So obviously is some blowout risk there if you're looking to target some of the Clippers guys. So let me just start with how I'm going about the slate as of right now. So we have these first 3 games, Denver, Indy, Charlotte, Cleveland, Toronto, Miami. Not a lot stands out there. I guess, my favorite game of those 3 would be Charlotte, Cleveland. But right now, I am fading those 3 games completely because I need the news from Minnesota guys, right? I need what else are we waiting for? Some of the, Pistons guys, Bruce Brown. I know Blake's doubtful, don't expect him to play, but there is just some news we're waiting on, especially, the main stuff is the Minnesota guys. And if we don't get that before lock, then that's how I'm going to go about it. I'm just going to fade these first 3 games so I have more time to build my lineups. Let me check Twitter one more time so if we've got anything else, but that's the way I'm going about it right now. Now, I will still break down these first 3 games, but that's how I think I'm going to do it. I think it's a decent... Okay, so we did just get a lot of this Minnesota stuff right now. Karl-Anthony Towns ruled out, Wiggins ruled out, Teague ruled out, Trayvon Graham ruled out. I haven't seen Vonleh yet. No, Vonleh ruled out. Okay, so yeah, everyone is out for Minnesota. So now I like a lot in that game. Golden State, Minnesota is definitely my favorite game by far. Injuries on both sides, but first, okay, let's go team by team before we get into the Golden State Minnesota game, guys. So start with Denver and the Pacers again. I'm playing no one in this game. I think Jokic stands out as a decent play there at 9.1K. Back-to-back, kind of off games, but he has, he is a guy that can get you a 50, even 60 fancy points on a good night. So I do have some interest there for Jokic and GPPs. Will Barton and Jamal Murray prices stand out as decent options in the mid-tier. Again, I don't see myself getting there. I'm going to be loading up on Golden State, Minnesota. And then, Paul Millsap's price came up for that decent game. I don't want to go there. Gary Harris is playing. There's just, again, it's kind of a fade. If I was going to play someone, probably be Jokic, but again, I don't see myself getting there. On the Pacers side, so there are a couple interesting plays here. Sabonis at 8.4K. We know Denver runs big. It's a tougher matchup, but he is a guy that will get about 30 or so minutes, maybe 35. Again, I don't mind him as a spin up. I don't see myself going there. We have no Malcolm Brogdon, which is pretty significant. The issue is Aaron Holiday's priced up to 5.7. He can still get you there at that price, but he just doesn't stand out as a great play. I think my favorite play would be TJ McConnell here at 4.3K. No, I know that game against Philly did blow out. He did play 27 minutes. I think if the game stays close, which it should, I think he gets about 20 to 25. And at this price, he makes for an interesting GPP play. He has flash upside in limited time, so I don't mind taking a shot there on TJ McConnell at that price. Also, Miles Turner at 5K I like the price. I'm not a huge Miles Turner guy. You guys know my love for Sabonis, but and Denver runs big. Maybe Sabonis could get in foul trouble. You never know. So Miles Turner actually stands out as a decent play as well. I think it would be him and TJ McConnell being my favorite Pacers guys, but I still don't know if I'm going to get there on this slate. So that's what I got for the first game. Next game here, Charlotte, Cleveland. Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, it's kind of the same thing. Those are always my main targets here on the Charlotte side. We know they play big minutes in close games. Devontae Graham has flash upside, 8.2K. He can still get you there. I just don't see myself going there. Rozier, don't mind the price. He's had a couple, off games. He is a guy that can get you upside games too. It's a good matchup, but again, I think those more just contrarian tournament options. And then the secondary pieces, I just don't have a whole lot of interest with everyone healthy. With Washington, Bridges, Zeller's okay at 4.3. Like, he's a guy that probably gets close to 20 minutes, but I still don't see myself getting there. Cleveland does run big, so maybe gets extended a little bit more, but still, like Biyombo, 4.3K. I just don't see myself getting there. So that's what I got for the Charlotte side. My main interest would be Graham and Rozier, but that's only for GPPs, and I don't see myself getting there for cash. On the Cleveland side, it's tough because, the two main pieces that I like targeting in Cleveland are both priced up with Love and Tristan Thompson. Love's now at 8K. Now, can he still get you there at that price? Of course he can. Bigs against Charlotte. Charlotte is very bad defending the bigs. So, you can go to Love for GPPs. Tristan Thompson's price is up. I don't see myself getting there. So I guess my favorite play would be Love, but still, I'm a one-lineup guy. I'm probably not going to play Kevin Love. And then the other options, don't think we have to take shots on these secondary pieces. So that's what I got for Cleveland. On the Toronto-Miami game, I think there is going to be ownership in this one, but I will be fading this game. Now, that doesn't mean you have to fade this game because there are some appealing plays in this game. It's not really the best spot for either side, but there's big guys that play big minutes on both teams. Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and Ibaka. Those three, we know Lowry's going to get 35 to 40. Fred VanVleet's going to get about the same, and then Ibaka will get about 35 or so. So, those three guys do stand out as solid, safer options. I know it's a tougher spot, but we know they're going to play the big minutes. So I have no issue if you land on one of those three guys for cash games. I think they're perfectly fine. We still have no Powell, no Gasol, no Siakam, obviously. RHJ does intrigue me here, 4.5K. I don't think we have a starting lineup yet. He started that last game on Tuesday. But if he starts once again... so we just got the Wolves available. Napier, Culver, Martin, Covington, Jang, McLaughlin, Noel, Okogie, Bates-Diop, Reed, and Bell. So they do have a lot of guys still available on the Timberwolves side. But... let's see. A Raptors starting lineup just came out. Lowry, Fred VanVleet, McCaw, and a newbie Ibaka. Okay, so that takes me off RHJ kind of. I mean, if he started, I feel a little bit more confident with his minutes. Both OG now starting, I don't see myself getting there. OG at 5.2, probably not for me. McCaw at 4.4 is interesting. He did get injured the last game against Cleveland, only played 22 minutes. I think he makes for an okay value play at that price. And then that's what I got. So, yeah, on the Toronto side, really the big three is where I guess my main interest is with Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and Ibaka. If you land on those guys for cash games, that's perfectly fine. But that's really what I got for Toronto. On the Miami side, it's kind of the same thing with the two guys at the top with Jimmy and Bam. Again, big minutes for both those guys. It's the same thing with the Toronto guys. Jimmy, 35 to 40 in a close game. Kind of the same thing with Bam. Not really the best spot, but we know the minutes will be there. So, yeah, the big three at the Toronto guys, no issue if you landed them. With Jimmy or Bam, I have no issue either. It just, the way roster construction goes right now, I have so many guys in the mid-tier in that Golden State Minnesota game that I just don't see myself getting to these guys. But if you land on Jimmy, Bam, or any of those Toronto big three, that's perfectly fine with me. I think those guys stand out as a pretty solid cash game options. Goran Dragic at 5.8 is, I guess you can throw a dart there for GPPs. His minutes have been a little bit all over the place. If he hits that high end, if he gets like over 30, he could get you there. But I just don't think we have to do it. Nunn, Hero, their upside is capped with Dragic back. Jones Jr. 4.4. Don't think we have to do that. Myers Leonard, I just can never play him. I never get him right. So that's what I got on Miami side. Again, it's really the main two there with Jimmy and Bam that I have interest in for cash games. Now we get to the big game, Golden State, Minnesota. This is, again, I talked about the game stack in New Year's Eve with the Golden State guys. I played 5 of them. All 5 got me there. And this is another situation where I will be loading up on this game. I definitely think it's the best game to game stack. We have injuries on both sides, big injuries. No Steph, no D'Angelo Russell, no Willie Cauley-Stein, no Kevon Looney. Golden State is pretty thin. So the main guys are the ones I have interest in. Really the starting 5 there with Draymond Green, Damian Lee, Burks, Glenn Robinson, Marquise Chris. I think all stand out as pretty solid options at their price. It's a really good matchup against Minnesota. Minnesota is one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. Do they not have... Wait, I don't think they have it listed because those guys just got ruled out. But I assume this game will be, somewhat high over/under. I guess like 220 or so. But yeah, Green, Lee, Burks, Glenn Robinson, Marquise Chris. I like a good amount. All there in the mid tier. All are going to play probably about 30 or so minutes. A bit more for guys like Burks and Damian Lee. Burks got 38 the last game. Now it did go to overtime, but with no D'Angelo Russell, there's just so much usage stick around. So I really like, I guess you're going to make me rank these Golden State guys. Well, first I'll talk about the bench guys. Kai Bowman was somewhat popular. I did play him, 21 minutes, only got 19 fancy points. I thought he would get a little bit more run with no D'Angelo Russell, but I think he's locked into like low 20s. And at 4.2K, don't think we have to go there. Pascal's minutes were somewhat limited, like I was concerned about, so I don't think we have to do that. And these other guys barely cracked the rotation. So it's the big 5, or it's the starting 5, I should say, for Golden State. And if you're going to make me rank the plays, I think it's going to be, this is with price into consideration. I think it would be Alec Burks 1 at 6.5. I think it would be, it's tough because I like all these guys. I guess Marquise Chris at 5.4, just because he got close. Yeah, he had 34, so he's on track for 29 in the regular minutes. And there's no Karl-Anthony Towns, which it is good for his chances of staying out of foul trouble. Right, he is a guy that can get in foul trouble. So I'd rank at Burks 1, Marquise Chris 2, and then Lee, Draymond Green would be tied for 3rd, and then Glenn Robinson last, I guess. 5.6K. I know he had a good game that last game, but normally he's a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of upside. So again, it would be Burks 1, Marquise Chris 2, Green and Lee 3, and then Glenn Robinson 4 for me. But I have a lot of interest in all those guys for Golden State. On the Minnesota side, there's a lot to like here. So let me refresh this page. So we have, let's see if DraftKings refreshes it with all those guys out now. Let's see. I haven't done it yet, but okay. So no Towns, no Wiggins, no Teague, no Travion Graham. I believe he got rolled out as well, and then no Noah Vonleh. Now the issue here is they called up a couple guys like McLaughlin's available. He can get minutes like Noel here. Like he's a guy that can get a little bit of run too. So, the concern is there's so many guys out, but they can still run like a 12-man rotation, right? Because let's see how many guys they have available here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they have 11 guys available. So yeah, they can realistically run 11-man rotation, which is not good for DFS purposes. But this is a spot where Golden State, again, they're not a very good defensive team either, so I just have interest in these guys. Probably my priority would be Shabazz Napier at 5.9. Really like the price for him. I think he gets about over 30 in this one. Again, Golden State, they don't play a whole lot of defense, and Shabazz is a guy that, even in limited time, we saw when he was getting only like 15 to 20 minutes, he's a guy that could get us like 20 fantasy points. Now that I think it's, somewhat safe to say he gets about 30 or so, I think he stands out as a good option. Now, again, This is not necessarily secure. I talk about Ryan Saunders being the new David Fizdale. You really can't trust the rotations, but I'm hoping these guys get, similar to what they have got the last couple games, and Napier getting over 30 last two. So Napier stands out as probably my favorite play. Gorgie Jang stands out as a pretty solid play as well. Now, his minutes have been a little bit more up and down. 41, 23, 33, 24. But I think even if he hits that low minutes range, if he only plays like 25 or so, I still think he doesn't kill you. And if we get lucky and Sanders throws him out there for like 35 to 40, he can crush the salary. So this is a situation where I do like Gorgie Jang. It's a little bit of a risk, but if he hits that high end of the minutes range, I think he could crush that salary. So I do like Gorgie Jang a good amount as well. And then Culver, I think, is pretty solid play as well. 5K. He's gotten 38 and 33 minutes in back-to-back games. He's a guy that's been getting the peripheral stats. So I think he stands out as a really solid play at that price. And then Covington's fine too at 5.6. He's a guy that's also been playing consistent minutes, 35, 35, 33. So those four are really the guys I had the most interest in, because the secondary pieces, the minutes have been kind of all over the place. Like Keelan Martin, 30, 35, and then 24. Obviously, if he hits that high end, I would like him, but a little bit risky. Koji is probable. He's the guy that probably gets, close to 20 minutes. Same with Bates Diop, like Naz Reid, maybe in the rotation, maybe not. McLaughlin, Jordan Bell, Noel, who knows, right? Who knows how many minutes those guys are going to play. So my main interest there is with Shabazz, Gorgie Jang, Jared Culver, and Covington. And I think I would rank it Shabazz 1, Gorgie Jang 2, Culver 3, and then Covington 4. But I like a lot of these guys in this game. Again, I think you can load up in this game. I have a lineup right now. My lineup has, I'll tell you how many guys I have in this game. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 in this game right now, but I honestly might make a change here and get it to 7, but we'll see. Either way, again, I like this game a lot. I think that's where, definitely my favorite game to game stack. Well, let's move on here to Utah-Chicago. On the Utah side, there's some intriguing plays. Now, Chicago has been actually somewhat good defensively, surprisingly, but I don't know. I don't know if I believe that too much with Chicago, and they're good defensively. Like, I just don't. They don't have a whole lot of great defenders on the team. So I think maybe it's that's due to teams not shooting well, kind of unlucky, I guess. But yeah, the Jazz guys. I think my favorite play here would be Joe Ingles at 5.9. That game against Detroit blew out, so he only got 30 minutes, but in close game, I think he gets about 35. I just love playing guys like this because he's a guy that gets the peripheral stats, and days where he has a good shooting night, he can crush. Like, he can get 40, even 50 on a really good night. So I think Ingles would probably be my preferred target there in the Jazz. Gobert and Mitchell, I think, are fine options. I don't see myself going there just the way roster construction goes, but I'm fine if you land on one of those two. Bogdanovich is a guy I never get to. He's too scoring dependent. I would much prefer Joe Ingles. So that's my thoughts there with Bogdanovich. And then secondary pieces, I don't think we have to do it on this slate. So let's move on to Chicago. On the Chicago side, honestly, there's not a whole lot I like. Levine and Satoransky, I believe, are good to go or are probable. Yeah, they've been listed as probable the last, I don't know how many games, but I fully expect both those guys to go. It's a tougher spot here. Wendell Carter Jr. also probable. Again, I fully expect all these guys to go. It's one of the situations where I just don't see myself getting there. Levine, Markin, Satoransky, Wendell Carter Jr. There's plays just like person, right? Like in the Golden State Minnesota game, this guys stand out a lot more in a better matchup. So I'm not going to be getting to these Chicago guys. Chris Dunn, I guess, would probably be my preferred target. And I know he only got 19 minutes the last game, but normally he's a guy who gets about 30 or so. And at his price, I don't think he kills you. So I think he would probably be my favorite bull, but I'm not going to be playing any Chicago guys. Next game is OKC and San Antonio. And the reason I say this game is really sneaky is because I don't think anyone's going to be high on this game. And this could be a game, it could turn into a decent fantasy point outing for both teams. Now, the concern or the downside of these OKC guys is they're very balanced and everyone's healthy with CP3, SGA, Adams, Schroeder, and Gallinari. But I think one or two of these guys could have a big game. Chris Paul has flashed the upside recently. It's an up-tempo game here against the Spurs. Spurs have been playing at a really fast pace, so it's a good match for Chris Paul. I'm perfectly fine if you get there. The other options are perfectly fine as well, right? I have no issue if you land at SGA, Adams, Schroeder, or Gallinari. I guess, Gallinari stands out as a pretty good option at 6.1. He's a guy that doesn't normally have a whole lot of upside, but I think he stands out as a safe cash game play. And that's what I got for the OKC side. So, yeah, it's a sneakier game. I think if you land on any of those big five guys, it's fine. But I just don't see a lot of people being owned in this game. On the San Antonio side, it's mainly LaMarcus Aldridge and DeRozan for me. Probably Aldridge being my favorite play. Talked about him, really like him against Golden State. 38 minutes, 45 fantasy points. I know, again, the game went in overtime, so I guess he was only on pace for 33. But I think he stands out as a safe option at that price. He has flashed upside recently. Don't mind DeRozan either. DeJounte Murray is okay, but the downside of him is he's never going to play over 30 minutes, at least from what we've seen so far. The secondary pieces: Rudy Gay, Derek White, Patty Mills, Forbes. It's always my same analysis. Like, you can take shots on those guys for GPPs. I never have a great feel with any of those guys. Jakob Poeltl and Trey Lyles are okay value options. I still don't see myself getting there, though. So really, on the San Antonio side, it's probably Aldridge would be my favorite play, and then DeRozan. And again, this game I think goes really, really low owned. But yeah, if you guys take ownership in consideration, I think there are some interesting plays in that game. We got 3 games left, so let's talk about Brooklyn and Dallas. On the Brooklyn side, there's honestly not a whole lot I like. Dinwiddie, I think, is an okay option at 8.3. He seems priced about right now. He is a guy that can get you on a good night, like over 50 fantasy points. This is, an okay matchup against Dallas. It's not great. It's not bad, though. So I think he's fine. But the way roster construction goes right now, I just don't see myself getting there. And then I really don't think we have to go with any of these secondary pieces. Like Jarrett Allen and DeAndre Jordan, it's always my same analysis. Like, you can take shots on those guys. If Jarrett Allen's playing well, he can get close to 30. If DeAndre Jordan's playing well, he can get like 25 or so. Those guys are guys that can get like upside games. I guess it is a revenge game spot for DeAndre Jordan. Thought I'd bring that up, but yeah, it's just not a whole lot that stands out here on the Brooklyn side. Now, let's talk about Dallas. So we have Kristaps is out, which is pretty big. So there's 2 ways to go about the slate. It's obviously the mid-tier approach, or you spend up on Luka and take some shots on some cheaper guys. Luka I'm a little bit torn right now. I don't have him in, but I'm pretty scared about that. With no Kristaps, he just has huge upside. It's a pretty good spot here against Brooklyn. So yeah, I think Luka, if you feel comfortable with the value guys, 100% spend up on Luka. Again, I'm a little bit torn. Right now I'm going more mid-tier, but if you feel comfortable with a guy like Jalen Brunson or a couple other value guys, you can for sure go Luka. I think the upside is pretty massive on him. But let's talk about Brunson, right? So he's a guy that's going to be pretty popular in my opinion. He's 3.4K. He started for Hardaway Jr. and played 23 minutes. Now, his upside isn't as high playing alongside Luka, obviously. But, it's a decent spot, and he's almost min-price. Now, I don't know. The Dallas secondary pieces are so hard to target because the minutes they ride at the hot hand with guys like DeLon Wright, Seth Curry, and Jalen Brunson. So I think, obviously, again, with taking price into consideration, Brunson is to be the most popular because he's the cheapest. Perfectly fine if you land on him. It allows you to get a guy like Luka in there. So, if I was going to get Luka in, I would definitely play Brunson alongside of him and just hope he gets me like 15 to 20. Brunson is a guy that when Luka was out, he did have some pretty big fantasy outing games. But again, it's a different spot because he's playing alongside Luka. So yeah, that's kind of what I got for the Dallas side. It's Luka at the top, which I think is a really solid play if you feel comfortable with the value guys. Brunson, I don't mind. Again, it opens up to get Luka in your lineup. The other guys like DeLon Wright, Seth Curry, those are more GPP options. DeLon Wright, I don't mind taking a shot at 4.3. He is a guy that has flashed some upside. He closed. Seth Curry, got 26 minutes. So those guys are more GPP options because they're a little bit more expensive. Dorian Finney-Smith, don't see myself getting there. And then Kleber and Powell are priced up where, I don't think we have to take shots on those guys. And I just thought I'd bring it up. Boban at 3.3 did get 11 minutes that last game. Maybe one of those guys getting foul trouble, you could always take a shot there because Brooklyn is a team that does have a traditional center out there at all times with Jarrett Allen or with DeAndre Jordan. So, you realistically could take a shot on Boban for GPPs, but the main interest there is really Luka and Jalen Brunson for me. Next game here, Memphis and Sacramento. So I like a little bit more on the Sacramento side, but there are some interesting plays here on the Memphis side. Jay Crowder is questionable. That is, somewhat big news. He's the guy that gets, close to 30 minutes. If he misses, Dylan Brooks maybe gets a little extra run, or they could run a little bit more small ball. Maybe D'Anthony Melton gets a little more run. Kyle Anderson, Solomon Hill. So realistically, if Crowder misses, you could take shots on some of those guys. But I think a guy like John Morant stands out as a pretty interesting play here at 6.4. He's been a little bit down recently, but the Kings with De'Aaron Fox in the lineup play at a pretty fast pace. And, Morant's at 6.4K. He is a guy that, early in the season, he had games 40, 50 fantasy point outings. So I think he makes for a pretty interesting GPP play. I don't think a lot of people will be on him, but I kind of like his price. Don't mind Jonas Valanciunas too. He is a guy that, can have that big upside game if he gets extended to 30 or so minutes. Again, sometimes he'll play like 25 minutes, sometimes he'll play 30, so he's perfectly fine for GPPs. Jaren Jackson Jr., not for me. And then, again, the secondary pieces, like you can take shots like Brooks, Melton, Kyle Anderson, Solomon Hill if Jay Crowder's out. If Jay Crowder's in, I probably don't want to go with those guys. Melton at 3.6K. Again, he got 23 minutes at last game. They could run a little bit more small ball maybe if Jay Crowder's out. So, again, he's an okay option, but the main interest as of right now is probably John Morant for me and Jonas Valanciunas, but I think it's only for GPPs. Sacramento side, so this is where I like a couple plays here. De'Aaron Fox, probably my favorite play at 7.3K. 33 and 32 minutes in back-to-back games. This is a really good spot against Memphis. He's going to be pretty popular, but I will be eating the chalk with him tonight. I just really like his upside there. I think Rashawn Holmes is an interesting GPP play at 7.1. The minutes have been a little bit down, 31 and 31 in back-to-back games. They have got dusted off Harry Giles. He's now in the rotation, so that caps upside a little bit on Holmes with the minutes at least. But it's a good match there against Jonas Valanciunas, so I don't mind Rashawn Holmes. Buddy Hield even at 6.7K. If you want to pivot off De'Aaron Fox, he's a guy that has had 37, 37, 36, and 37 minutes in 4 straight games. Again, it's a good spot. I think he goes lower owned compared to Fox. You can play Fox and Hield together if you want. I think I would slightly prefer Fox to Hield, but I do like both those guys. Still no Marvin Bagley. B Elites at 5.6K is okay. I don't see myself getting there. Bogdan at 5.5. I would like it if he was playing into the 30s minutes. I don't think I can go there right now at that price. Harry Giles, just thought I'd bring it up. If you're going more stars and scrubs, he probably gets 15 to 20 minutes. He's playing the backup center minutes, and he is a guy that can get you there in limited time. Like he can get 20 to 25 in that time. So again, if you're going with more the Luka approach, I guess you can take a shot on a guy like Harry Giles. I don't hate that idea, but that's what I got for the Sacramento side. So really like De'Aaron Fox. I think Buddy Hield's a pretty solid play as well. Don't mind Holmes for GPPs. And then Harry Giles, if you're going more stars and scrubs, I think is an okay option. Last game here, Detroit and the Clippers. So we are still waiting on Bruce Brown news, I believe. Let me confirm that on Fantasy Labs. Yep, nothing, no updates yet. So Blake Griffin doubtful. I don't expect him to play. We have still no Luke Kennard, still no Markieff Morris, and Bruce Brown's questionable. Bruce Brown has been playing big minutes in back-to-back games, 33 and 37. He's been not so great, but the minutes have been secure for him. Now, if he's going to be available, I think he stands out as a pretty solid cheap option there. If he's out, then that's pretty big because those minutes have to go somewhere. So I think D Rose maybe gets a little bit more run off the bench, but I think my favorite play would be a guy like Tim Frazier at 3.5K. If Bruce Brown is out, I think his minutes would have to go up. I think that Detroit doesn't like running him and D Rose alongside each other a lot, but if there's no Bruce Brown, they don't have a whole lot of options. So Tim Frazier would become a really solid value play in my opinion if Bruce Brown gets ruled out. Guys like Svi and Galloway are okay. They probably get a little more extra run. Thon Maker, don't see myself getting there. Tony Snell, he's a guy that probably gets a little extra run too, but he's so low usage, I don't think I could even get there if Bruce Brown is out. So, and then Christian Wood at 5.1, I think stands out as a pretty solid option. He's gotten 24, 23, and 28 minutes in 3 straight games. That game did blow out against Utah, so I think in a normal game he probably gets about 25. But we know the upside is there when this guy gets minutes, so I think he stands out as a pretty solid option at his price. And then finally Drummond, that's only a GPP option. If Detroit's going to stay in this game, he's probably going to have a big game. So I don't mind spending up on Drummond. It's more contrarian. Again, GPPs. I think the cash game approach is either going full on mid-tier or spending up on Luka. So a guy like Drummond, I don't see myself getting there for cash games. I think he's an okay GPP option. But yeah, that's what I got for Detroit. So really, it's dependent on Bruce Brown news. If Bruce Brown's plays, I think he stands out as a good cheap option. I don't mind Christian Wood. I think Drummond's an okay GPP option. If Bruce Brown is out, then I would really like Tim Frazier as a value play. I think a guy like D Rose gets more runs, so that's something we'll have to keep an eye on with that last game. And then the Clippers side, so these guys are only GPP viable for me. I'm just too worried about the blowout right now for cash to target these guys in cash games, at least on Draftkings. 13-point spread against Detroit, super shorthanded. We know the Clippers, one of the best teams in the NBA. So Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, and Montrez, I think all stand out as solid plays, but I don't see myself getting there for cash games. I'm just too worried about the blowout. If you think Detroit keeps this game close, then maybe you target one of those big four guys and run it back with a piston or two. Again, that's perfectly fine if you think the game does stay close, but I will not be going there for GPPs. Zubac's a guy maybe gets a little more run because Detroit runs big. Now the game where he got 28 minutes, Montrezl Harrell was out, but I think he could get over 20 in this one. So I think he stands out as a decent value play there at that price. Again, if you're going more stars and scrubs, I don't hate taking a shot there. No Pat Beverly, then Lou Williams will get more run at the point guard. I think he gets about over 30 minutes in a close game, but again, there is some blowout risk. So really for the Clippers, if you're going to make me rank the guys, I think it would be Lou Williams 1 for that price. I think Zubac at his price stands out as a pretty solid option, and then Montrez, Paul George, and Kawhi are fine if you get there. But that's really what I got. So let me check one more time here on Fantasy Lab, see if we got any more news, and then we get to questions. We got about 15 minutes until lock. So, yeah, let's get to some questions here. Let's see. Napier or Chris? I'm playing both. If you're going to make me pick, I will go Napier, but I really like both those guys. Wood, yes or no? So I think right now he is in my lineup, but I might switch around and go even more game stack with Golden State, Minnesota. But I'm also, again, thinking about going Luka too, and taking shots at some of those cheaper guys like Brunson, maybe Zubac or some of those other value guys I've talked about. You could always take a shot at one of those cheaper Minnesota guys, but I just don't know what the minutes are going to be like for those like secondary pieces. Let's see, Jang or Fox. I will go Fox there for sure. I just think, well, for cash games, Fox, but I think I'll still go Fox for GPPs too. I like both those guys a lot, but Jang's minutes have been a little bit more up and down, so that's why I think Fox is more the cash game option for sure. I'm rolling with Napier, Burks, Covington, Chris, Aldridge, Fox, Harrell, and Rose. Yeah, so that's pretty similar to mine. Again, you're going more the mid-tier approach too. Again, I'm a little bit more undecided. I do have the mid-tier lineup build right now, but it does scare me fading Luka with no Kristaps. Wood or Turner in cash? That's a good question because, I think both probably get about 25 or so minutes. That's a tough one. I will give the edge to Turner right now for cash games, I guess. Because Wood's been a little bit more up and down. So I guess Turner for cash. Golden State, Minnesota, 7 plus Fox. Yeah, I mean that's what build that I thinking about switching to as well. So what do you think about Derrick Jones Jr.? He's 4.3, I believe. Let's see, 4.4K. He's a guy that probably gets about 30 or so minutes. And again, if you're going more stars and scrubs, I'm fine going there. We know the minutes have been pretty secure for him. He doesn't have huge upside, but again, if you're trying to get Luka in there, I'm fine landing on Derrick Jones Jr. Luka going for 25 in the first quarter. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have him in right now, but I'm very, very scared about it. I'm still thinking about getting him in. We'll see. Again, if I'm going to go Luka, I'm probably going to play a guy like Brunson. Bowman at 4.2K still in play for cash. I don't think so at that price. Just because I thought he would get a little bit more run with no D'Angelo Russell, but he still only got 21 minutes. At this price, I think I like value plays a little bit elsewhere, so I don't think he's in play for cash. Is he in? Who are you talking about? But yeah, again, for the way I'm going about this right now, I'm fading the first 3 games. I really like the Golden State Minnesota game. That's going to be the most popular game for guys to play in. I think Brooklyn Dallas stands out as a decent game as well, especially the Dallas side with Luka and Brunson. I think Memphis Sacramento, I do like a couple of pieces there on the Sacramento side. Don't mind John Morant or Jonas Valanciunas for GPPs. And then Detroit Clippers, it's kind of a toss-up. It's a game that could blow out, but we're still waiting on some news there with Bruce Brown, which is pretty significant because Bruce Brown is playing big minutes. And again, if Bruce Brown gets ruled out, I think a couple of Pistons value guys, especially Tim Frazier, who I think will just have to play more minutes, stands out as a good option. How do you feel about, let's see, who has more upside if Brown is out, Svi or Frazier? So I'm definitely going to go Frazier there. I think Svi maybe gets more run, but we have seen when Tim Frazier gets like 25 to 30 minutes, he can have pretty big games. So I will go Tim Frazier there. Garrett Temple out. Did that just happen? Yeah, Garrett Temple ruled out. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let me go to Brooklyn. I'm intrigued who they're going to start. So with no Garrett Temple, he played the last game, right? Yeah, he got 41 minutes the last game. I don't think I don't know. Either way, like he gets, about 30 or so minutes, maybe a little bit more. But those minutes have to go somewhere. So I'm intrigued who they're going to start for Garrett Temple. I think that could make, whoever starts a pretty solid cheap options. So, again, Dinwiddie's going to start, Jared Allen's going to start, Prince is going to start, and Joe Harris is going to start. That we know. We don't know who's going to start for Garrett Temple. I think it could be a guy like Wilson Chandler or maybe TLC. So we'll see. Whoever starts for Garrett Temple, I would have a good amount of interest there as a value play. So we got to wait for that. Let's see. Oh, Luka is in tonight. Yep. LA Detroit game is very high chance of blowout. Yeah, so that's why I'm a little bit concerned about targeting that game for cash games. A silly question, do you collect your rewards? What do you mean by rewards? Like the crowns and tickets and stuff? Is that what you mean? What about RHJ? So with RHJ not starting, I can't feel confident about his minutes, so I can't go there. Luka, Brunson, Burks, Covington, Chris, Fox, Kleber, and Zubac. Yeah, so like that would be a lineup that if I play Luka would be very, very similar to what I would get to. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Yo, Sean, what are you looking? Okay. Fox is leaving the game in the first quarter, right? Yeah, that was terrible. What was that, like a week or two ago? It was about a week ago, and I had Fox and Bagley, and they both got injured. And I still almost cashed in cash games. Like I was like 7 points away from cash because I had Aloha and Randall went for 50, and then Joe Ingles almost went for 50. So that was super, super tilting. This could have been a huge night. TLC, baby. Is Luka playing? Yes, I think Luka is going to be good to go. But yeah, we're still waiting on that last starter for Brooklyn. David Nwaba got waived. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be Wilson Chandler or TLC, and whoever does pick up the start, I would have a good amount of interest there as a value play. Do you think Grayson Allen will play 25 plus minutes? I don't think so. What has he been getting? He's never really a guy I consider. He's 3.2K. I mean, he did play 26 that last game. I can't feel confident targeting that, so I would say no. I like Gobert, Rozier. Yeah, Gobert and Rozier are fine. Fox, Culver, Burks, Chris, Aldridge, Curry, Hield, and CP3. I like that a lot. Again, you're going mid-tier as well. Draymond Green, yep. I like a lot of the Golden State guys. I like a lot in that Golden State-Minnesota game. Value, I like Svi a little bit just on the price and McConnell and Naz Reid. Yeah, so Svi is a guy that will get a little bit more run, obviously, if Bruce Brown is out. McConnell, I think, stands out as an interesting play because he will probably get about 20 or so minutes, maybe a little bit more, and he can get you there in limited time. Naz Reid, I'm a little bit more up in the air just because they still have Jordan Bell that can give a run to. They still have other guys. So Gobert, possible 2020 game in the spot. That's true. I mean, Gobert, what's his price? He's pretty expensive. That's the only reason why I'm not like super excited about Gobert is because he's 9K, 8.9. But yeah, he can have the upside game. I just don't see myself getting there for one lineup. Culver's obvious at 5K. Yeah, I like Culver a good amount as price. Him, Shabazz, Gorgie Jang, I think are my three favorite plays. I don't mind Covington either. How about Zach LaVine? I don't see myself getting there. He's 7.7K in a tougher spot. I don't think we have to do it. Thanks for the awesome video. Thanks for the always break down the slate. Let's get this money. Appreciate that, Cameron. Really do. I hope you have a good night tonight. Thanks as always, DK. Of course, man. Yeah, the achievements, daily rewards, and missions. So I do have to use my crowns and tickets. I just haven't. I don't know why I don't. I like getting my crowns up to like 100K and then using them. But yeah, there's also a deposit bonus on Draftkings, I think. like a 20% bonus if you deposit over like $100. Just thought I'd bring that up if you guys are interested in that. Gary Harris, a sneaky play. Sure, I don't see myself getting there. McConnell's been really playing really well. I wish he was 3,900 instead of 43. Yeah, I think McConnell, like I said, I do like him. I think he's probably my favorite play on the Pacers side. Lou Will or Burks, that's a tough one. I will go Burks right now for cash games just because I'm a little bit worried about the blowout for the Clippers. But I think Lou Williams, if Detroit does keep it getting close, at his price with no Pat Beverly, the upside is pretty high. So, yeah, Lou Williams is probably my favorite play on the Clippers side, but I will go Burks for cash games over Lou Williams. Who gets the bump with Temple out? So it's probably TLC and Wilson Chandler. I think if Wilson Chandler starts, I would like him a good amount. He is a guy that probably would get 25 to 30 minutes, and he has been getting about 15 or so fantasy points on average, playing about 20 minutes. But if we can extend that to like 25 to 30, then he could have a pretty solid day. And same thing with TLC. So I think it's gonna be one of those two guys. But we will see. Let's see. Kristaps Porzingis without timetable for return. Wow, that is not good news for Dallas. Let's see. You like Harrell? I think Harrell's fine. I think, again, Lou Williams will probably be my favorite play on the Clipper side, just because Pat Beverly, he'll run more point, but I'm fine if we get to Harrell. The concern with Montrez is he doesn't really match up great against Drummond, so that's why you could see Zubac maybe playing a little bit more. So that's why I'm not like super excited about Montrez. Anunoby or Woods, DK or Wood. I will go Wood there. Culver and JVale or Harrell and Rose. So I will go Culver and JVale right now. I really like Culver at his price. Again, Harrell, I'm just a little bit worried about his minutes. Again, they could always run him out there against Drummond and just have, kind of run all over the floor, but we'll see. Would you fade Chris Fox or Napier? I would not. I'm playing all three, but you can. There are other options. Again, a lot of guys in that same game that are similarly priced. Lou Will or Draymond? So I'll go Draymond for cash just because, again, the blowout does worry me, but I think the upside is pretty high on Lou Williams. Harrell or Holiday? Wait, which Holiday are we talking about? Oh, Aaron Holiday or Harrell? It's a tougher spot, but I think I will go Aaron Holiday there. Lou Williams, baby narrative. Healed in cash. I think you can go Buddy Healed in cash. Yep. Thanks again for all your info and input. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jason. Thank you. Matthew, can't trust JVale minutes, it seems like. Yeah, I think JVale more for GPPs, definitely. Harrell too cheap. I wonder if Zubac gets more minutes over Drummond. Again, that's my concern too, is maybe Harrell doesn't get like the 30-plus minutes, but you never know. Lou Will had a baby fade. Damian Lee or Alec Burks. I like the upside a little bit more than Alec Burks, so I will go Alec Burks, but I like both those guys a good amount. Burks, Rocco, Fox, or Healed, Kevin Love, and Culver. I'll go Burks, Robert Covington, and Fox there. Paternity leave in baseball, at least. They always suck first game back, except Max Scherzer. Do you think Dinwiddie will get more usage with Temple out? A little bit. I mean, he will get a little bit more. Garrett Temple wasn't a super high usage guy, but I think he will get a little bit more. Tim Hardaway Jr. without timetable for return, too. So that's really bad news for the Mavs. What do you think? Or do you think... okay, yeah. Thanks for the advice. Have a good night. Hey, I appreciate that, Dawson. I hope you have a good night as well. Christian Wood or Bielitsa? I'll go Bielitsa if you have this. If you have the salary. Now, the concern with him is he's not going to get the backup 5 minutes. Again, Harry Giles dusted him off, so that caps upside a little bit on Bielitsa and Holmes. But I think if you're going to make me choose between him and Wood, I think I would feel a little bit more confident with Bielitsa. I have to fade one of Chris, Fox, and Napier. Okay, which one would I fade? Ooh. I think I would go Marquise Chris just because there's a decent chance he can get in foul trouble. So I guess Chris, but yeah, I like all three of those guys a lot. Great news for Luka MVP, though. That is very true. That definitely improves his chances. Let's see. Yeah, we're still waiting on the Nets news. Again, I completely faded the first 3 games, so I do have time. I have an hour to kind of rearrange things. But again, the value guys, I think Brunson, if you're going for more stars and scrubs to get Luka in, I think Brunson. I think whoever starts in the Brooklyn side, And then I think, possibility of like a Tim Frazier if Bruce Brown is out. Zubac I don't mind. So that's the way I would go about it if I was going to play Luka. I think those are the value guys I would consider for sure. Rolling with Luka, Brunson, Draymond, Wilson Chandler, Chris, Fox, Covington, Napier. I love that. That is, that may be the lineup I would land on if I was playing Luka. So yeah, I like that a good amount. Let's go over some ownership. Again, I don't have anyone in those first 3 games, but we can check it out, see what it looks like. I'll just go with the $40 single entry tournament that I'm in and take a look. We got Larry Nance at 0.7%, Garland at 0.6%. Kind of what I'm expecting in these first couple games. Not a whole lot of ownership. I really like Rose, but I'm so scared of the blowout. I keep changing my lineup with him and Fox. So if you're going between Rose and Fox, I would definitely like Fox more. But I would like the upside in Rose a lot if Bruce Brown gets injured, or if Bruce Brown is out, because I think Rose could push for what? I mean, he was playing high 20s minutes, right? And if Bruce Brown is out, I think he probably gets over 30. And yeah, he have to be the number 2 in the offense there with Drummond if they want to keep that game close. So yeah, if you're picking between the two, I'd go Fox, but I would like the upside of Rose if Bruce Brown is out. Taking a shot with Chandler, everyone else I'm feeling good about. So if Chandler starts, I think he stands out as a really solid value play there at his price. You could always pivot to TLC if he starts too, but I don't think that's super risky there. A Napier or Derrick Rose or both. I'll go Napier right now, but if Bruce Brown does get rolled out, I would like Derrick Rose a decent amount there. So right now, I'm going to go Napier. Holmes and Fox or Chris and Rudy. We were talking about Rudy Gobert, right? It's not Rudy Gobert. Yeah, it had to be Rudy Gobert. Okay, so that's a good question for sure. I will go Chris and Rudy Gobert there. Just because, with Giles being dusted off, he's going to cap the upside a little bit on Holmes and Bjelica. I love Fox, but I think the upside is pretty high on Rudy Gobert, and I think Chris stands out as a really solid play at his price. So I'll go Marquise Chris and Rudy Gobert, though, there. Cody Zeller, 3%. Again, I'm just kind of scrolling through trying to find guys in his own. Do you like DeMar? I'm fine with DeMar. Again, that game I think goes really, really low owned. If I was a guy that was making multiple lineups, I think I would throw one in there, just as like a game stack, because I think everyone's going to go super low owned in that game. Tristan Thompson, 3%, Lamb, 1%. Again, I don't expect to see a whole lot in this of these early games in this tournament. Let's see. So yeah, I'm fine if you get to DeMar. I think, LMA would be my preferred target in the Spurs, but DeMar would probably be a close second. I really don't see any other ownership, so let me check Twitter one more time, and then I can get out of here. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, it's important to do so. I will give my thoughts as we get this injury news throughout the rest of the night. Again, we're still waiting on a couple pieces. Bruce Brown mainly, and then whoever starts for the Nets. But Wood or Culver, GPP, yeah, I got to go Culver there. I like both, but I think Culver just plays more minutes, so I'll go Culver. I'm going to hop out here, guys, though. So I do appreciate all you guys coming to check out the live stream. Again, I apologize for not getting that video up today. I will have a video up tomorrow for Friday's slate. I think we got a decent slate. Let me check that out really quick. We have 6 games. That's a pretty solid slate. But yeah, I will have that video up tonight. Not going to miss that one. And I probably will have the video up for the wildcard NFL. I know I've been kind of slacking on those videos, but I'm going to have that up. Try to have that up tonight as well. So again, I do appreciate all you guys coming to check out the live stream. I hope you have a good night. I hope we win some money. And I will see you guys tomorrow.